Okay, have you ever watched a viral trend just completely take over the internet and you just don't get it? Well, you are not alone. In this explainer, we are diving deep into the fascinating psychology of people who seem to be totally immune to the hype.
I mean, you know the feeling, right? You open up your social media, and suddenly everyone is doing the same dance challenge or making that baked feta pasta recipe. And while the rest of the world seems absolutely obsessed, you just feel disconnected, maybe even a little confused. If you've ever felt like the odd one out in a sea of hype, you are in exactly the right place.
So, why do most of us feel that intense pull to join in on these things? Well, it really comes down to this powerful psychological force that we can call the social influence trap. At its very core, it's all about our fundamental human need to belong.
Now, psychologists have a fancy name for this: normative social influence. It sounds a little complicated, but it's really not. It's just our natural tendency to conform to a group so that we'll be liked and accepted. It's that nagging little fear in the back of our minds that if we don't join in, we'll be judged or, left out. And that fear, that is the fuel that makes these viral trends spread like absolute wildfire.
But what if you don't feel that pressure? What if that fear of missing out, that FOMO, just isn't really a thing for you? This brings us to a really powerful alternative: cognitive independence. And this isn't about being a contrarian just for the sake of it, or being out of touch. Nope, it's a completely different way of processing the world around you.
So let's compare these two mindsets side by side. On one hand, you've got social influence. That's all driven by external questions, right? What does the group think? Am I fitting in? But with cognitive independence, the validation comes from the inside. It's based on your own standards and your personal assessment of what has value. This isn't about rejecting other people, it's just about not needing their approval to feel secure.
And this difference, it goes way deeper than just being a personality quirk. It's actually wired into our brains. It all comes down to where we look for our reward signals. Do we get them from the outside world, or do we generate them from within?
You see, a lot of us operate on what you could call an external loop. We get that little dopamine hit, our brain's feel-good chemical, from likes and shares, and just general social acceptance. But someone with cognitive independence, they're running on an internal loop. Their satisfaction comes from meeting their own standards, which just naturally makes them resistant to all that external hype that fuels trends.
So, that feeling of being disconnected, it is not a weakness. It doesn't mean you're out of touch. A much better way to think about it is that you're immune to something called digital conditioning. That's the relentless pressure from algorithms and social platforms, which are literally designed to show you what's popular and make you feel like you have to be a part of it. So not falling for that isn't a flaw. It's a sign of a really strong internal compass.
So, I want to leave you with this one thought. Now that you have a name for this trait, cognitive independence, how does that shift your perspective? Recognizing this not as some kind of social deficit, but as a psychological strength, well, that's a powerful thing. So the real question is, what will you do with it? Thanks for joining this explainer.